Hello world, I hope this video finds everybody doing good under the sound of my voice. I hope it finds you blessed and highly favored. And if you live to see today, I hope you thank God for today and we gonna live it day by day. Hello world, I want to touch on a topic, it's about a young man from Missouri. He was sentenced to 241 years and he served 27. And the story kind of it touched me because, I'm once a person too that failed and I made mistakes along the way. So I learned not to judge anyone. And then when I see somebody that regain their freedom back, it does something to me. And the guy, his name was Bobby Bostic. And he did like 27 years in jail. Like I said, he was sentenced to 241 years. And they had a judge to help him come home. And I chose the topic on the way home because I thought that was a deep topic because like when you incarcerated or you doing time, that's the only thing you're looking forward to, going home. And that you just that from day one, whatever sentence you might get, it could be a life sentence, it could be 40, 50, 10, 5, 3, 1. It could be 6 months. But when you get sentenced to whatever you get sentenced to, that be your goal, is to make it home. And I chose the topic on the way home because, and I want to bring some other examples along with him because it's something about on the way home, a trip on the way home. And I felt good about him serving 27 years and that God gained him his freedom again. So Bobby Bostic, probably happy for you, man, because I know like 241 years, I know you had a lot of stress and a lot of days that you dealt with while you was there. And I do know when you're incarcerated, every day that you in there is a thinking process. And you just constantly getting away, drifting away, just thinking on life itself and freedom, so. But the man, Bobby Bostic, he was a dude that I kind of admired because he took advantage of his time. From my understanding, he wrote like 15 books in there. And me personally, I just want to get my hands on some of those books so I could just read up on some of the stuff that he wrote about, because I do know that when you're incarcerated, God, he give you a lot of time to do a lot of real thinking. And that thinking be good thinking a lot of times. So, I just want to put my hands on one of those books. And, man, I do want to say, like, Bobby Bostic, welcome home, man. I do know that I saw the videos of you on the news, and I saw the judge that helped free you. I saw her crying real tears. And I happened to see you and your family. I saw your family, and I saw that how happy they was to see you. But I do know 241 years is a long sentence. And I don't think that nobody ought to get sentences like that. But I do know that justice was served because you did come home. And you did the time that that God allowed you to do before he freed you. And like I said, once again, man, welcome home. And, I followed your story and I was fascinated by it. So I wanted to come on here and use this platform as something that I could reach out to the world and let them know, my experience, your experience. Your experience was longer than mine, but I got a taste of what you got. I said I was behind bars, I was incarcerated, I was taken away from my family. And I do know when I saw you and your family, you reunited, it brought tears to my eyes because I was happy for you, man. And I just want to thank God that you was able to make it back home. You didn't have to spend 241 years, because I know you wouldn't live 241 years, but God is awesome. He allowed you to do the time that he thought was necessary, and he brought you home, and that's why I chose the topic on the way home, because, like when you do, like when I'm gonna use my experience, I'm not Bobby, but I'm gonna use my experience, man. When I got my sentence, I got 3 years. He did 24 years more than what I did. And then when I did my 3 years, it felt like I did 10 or 20 because I wasn't really used to being locked up behind bars. But I do know that that was a lesson from God, and God had to sit me down. But I just thank God for my experience, but what I experienced on my way home, when you coming home from a place like incarceration, or a place that you were locked up, taken away from your livelihood, your family, and people that you love dearly, I find when you on your way home, you are very observative. you know, and from the place that you might be locked up or the facility you may have did your time, man, you're gonna look at everything. You're gonna everything is gonna be like a real deep experience. From the walk to from they walk you out of the facility where you might be to where you get in your car. And every tree, every inch of the way, you're gonna observe everything around you, the trees, the gas stations, the different businesses, and it's gonna be a hell of an experience though. But if you've never been in the experience, you may not be able to comprehend what I'm trying to say. But I think it'd be of the appreciation of what you use for what you missed while you was gone. So everything is like a good sight, and everything that you visualize is something that you kind of tend to hold on to. That's why I chose the topic on the way home. Because I do know that on the way home, Bobby Bostic, he did a lot of things that I probably did because his experience was like I said, 24 more years longer than what I had to do. But I do know that he really had a real thinking process that he went through on his way home. And when you just pulling up like in your own neighborhood, seeing the things that you probably would take for granted, and seeing like it could be the most simplest things that when you get home and what you see. But I do know that it's a hell of an experience, man. It allows you to be able to appreciate things from the smallest to the biggest. And I just thank God for my experience like that, because when I got back to my hometown where I was from, to see the people, when I opened my mother's door, just to see my mother's face and the tears that she may have shed when she retained her son again. So it's like, man, seeing some of your old friends and people that you probably took for granted while you was gone, just the small things, the cooked meals, just the sweet smell of fresh air, the walk on just concrete slab, whether it be grass or wherever it might be, just to look up and see the stars from an outside point of view. So I just want to touch on this today because, man, I chose on the way home, because it don't have to be just incarceration for you to appreciate on the way home. You can, and some examples I might use, it might be like you may have traveled, you may have moved out of state and you was traveling back home. And it's no feeling like on the way back home, because on the way back home is where you first got your start. Is where you first visualize everything for the very first time. And it's a real sacred place for you, because it's your upcoming. And you learn to appreciate it every time you see it again, especially when you've been away for a while. So, I touched on this topic on the way home. It could be like, I done been in some relationships and, I done been forced to go back home to my mother's home. And, it was like on the way back home, it was probably like a deep thing, because when you in a relationship, you don't want to come back home, or you don't want to have to go back to your parents' house, because you already don't visualize being out, and you know what it's like to be able to try to hold your own. But when you make it to the doors, the love that your mother gonna display, and she gonna welcome you in and embrace you in a way that you're not gonna mind making the mistakes, or you're not gonna mind having to go back home, because sometimes going back home is necessary, because your mother and father, they can give you the love that you need to help get you back on your feet and get you back sound again. So I chose the topic on the way home, because, on the way home is a hell of an experience. No matter where you can travel afar, I mean, you've been incarcerated, or you went to college, your trip back home is like, man, you looking forward to just seeing the people that you love the most. Because like, I do know that when you get in some odd places, you don't get the love that you can get at home. So I chose the topic on the way home, because like, ain't no place like home, because like I said, is where you first got your start. And I just want to touch on this today because, man, I just thought on Bobby Bostic, when he was traveling home, what kind of thoughts he probably had in his head while he was going through the thought processes, and the people he was looking forward to seeing, and the places that he never saw it since he was a child. And, it just brought tears to my eyes, just to see him released, because, I understood, because God put me in the same spot, in the same place, and I had to witness some of the same things. So, I just thank God for him and me, because I was able to experience it. That's why I use the other examples about traveling out of state for college, or, You know, it's whatever it may have been to take you from your home base. You know, so it just makes us appreciate being home. You know, and once again, Bobby Boston, I just want to welcome you home. You know, and I know on the way home, but I thank God that you was able to make it there. You know, so I just want to share this with somebody. I hope somebody got something from the message. And, you know, I just want to, if you did, ask that you subscribe and, you know, and we break bread to one another, because everything that falls on my heart, that God put it in my thoughts, I say I'll always bring it to you. And I thank God for you and everybody that's listening in. You know, I just want to encourage somebody just to do something different than what they did yesterday. You know, call somebody and check on somebody. I always say the world is not centered around us. We got to deny ourselves for others. And I just want to encourage somebody to be blessed. And till the next time.